Hey YouTube, in this deck profile, or in this video, I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my Tachikaze Dark Rex or my Rex Dino deck. This is basically the Tachikaze deck that's been around longer than the Ancient Dragon one. Although Ancient Dragons are not that much newer, rather Dark Rex came out in set 8 back when the original Maelstrom came out. But he wasn't really like people tried to use him, but he never really saw a lot of play. And then he kind of like became popular at some point in the game. I think it was around the time when Ancient Dragons like just came out or somewhere around there. I forgot when it was. I think it was during Break Ride because people were mixing the Spino Diver with this guy. But overall, the deck now can run without Spino Driver. It's kind of like just the Rex thing now, as opposed to Ancient Dragons, or just some generic deck. It's a pretty fun deck overall. I personally still prefer Ancient Dragons, but this is my take on the Rex variant. So of course, to start off, for Destruction Dragon Dark Rex, he's the main Vanguard that you want to banish one of them into the Mind Zone. There are cards that can get you to do that. The other one is the card that came out in the Fighters Collection. So Destruction Dragon Squall Rex. He's your 11k. Typically, you can use him. You can use him as a Vanguard also because he's 11k. Whereas this one is going to be the one that you kind of like Superior Ride from the Bind Zone. This one also has a good effect where it can be in the Bind Zone, then you can Superior Call it to a Rearguard Circle. So this can be a pretty decent attacker. So that's basically it. These are the only like Rex Vanguards that I have, or grade 3s. So I'm running those. For grade 2s, we're running 4 Tank Mammoth. Tank Mammoth is one of the more key cards in the deck because the deck, if you notice, like it doesn't really counterblast. Like Rex himself doesn't use counterblast, or Dark Rex. Squall Rex uses one. This guy uses one. Basically, when this guy is sent to the drop zone for either Engorge or retired from Rex or something, you can counterblast once, Soul Blast one to Superior Call him, and he gets 3,000. So he becomes an 11k attacker on call from the drop zone. So that's pretty good. The only thing I don't like about him is 8k. They could have made him 9k. That would be a lot better. Next, we have 4 Assault Dragon, Assault Rex. This is actually one like the main Rex support card that they got, because it has Rex in the name, and also if you have a Vanguard with Rex, you can draw a card when this is put in the drop zone. So it's kind of like a Great Nature type of card. It's the way I think of it, but it's pretty good. So we run 4 of it. And then a card that I might bump up to 4 is this one. So 3 Explosive Sarco Blaze, Explosive Dragon Sarco Blaze. This essentially has Silent Tom, but he has to be engorged to gain the Silent Tom effect, where they can't call grade 0s. Nice thing about this though is you can potentially use it early to rush. So I may bump this up to 4 and maybe drop the Tank Mammoth down to 3. Or maybe I'll drop Assault Rex down to 3. But this is the 11k attacker, so I don't really want to do that. This can become an 11k attacker when used with the Engorge, so it kind of works together. I don't know. Let me know if you guys... Maybe I will bump this up to 4. Because it does have Silent Tom's ability, and it's a 9k. And it's not GB restricted or anything. So for grade 1s, I'm running the new, relatively new, Savage Guardian. So this is the unflipped perfect guard for Tachikaze. One thing I want to note on the Savages. Savages are a cool looking sub-archetype of the Tachikaze clan. I really hope in the future Bushiroad will make Savages more like a viable build within the Tachikaze clan, besides Ancient Dragons, because I think the artwork looks pretty cool on some of them. They've been around since forever, but they never have gotten like proper support. Next, 4 Prism Birds, Stride, Enabler. We don't run the Gaia. I don't have the Gaia, but I do have these. So, they just help you stride. And then 3 Ancient Dragon Tyranno Blaze. This is the Limit Break Enabler for Tachikaze. It just so happens to also be Ancient Dragon. So it can help you, not really for Squall Rex, but for the re-ride, you could potentially do it. It just makes it so that if you heal down to 3, or something on your battle phase that you strode, you can still do the ability. So, and then 2 Savage Heroine. So Savages, new Savages starting to gain the Engorge ability. So this is a pretty decent card because it can get 3k for each Engorge unit. So I kind of look at this as kind of like a Bruno card. This combined with the Tank Mammoth. Tank Mammoths getting engorged and then getting recalled from the drop zone is really good. So it's kind of like Doreen the Thruster or Bruno. More like Doreen because it's like the same 6k. And then 1 Winged Dragon, Sky Tepuro. So I only have 1 of these. I only pulled 1 because I only bought like 1 box of BTO2 back in the day. And I pulled 1 of these. So this is pretty good. I think it's a little overrated. People say that it's super good, but I don't really think you need more than 3 of this because it is a 6k. But yeah, it does work well with Engorge. But for me, this deck doesn't really have any way of unflipping countercharging. Besides the Savage Guardian, which is kind of I still think that these type of PGs are kind of unreliable to rely on for countercharging compared to a lot of the newer cards that have built-in countercharge effects. So then for the trigger lineup is actually really odd. I went with a really weird lineup. So I went with 2 draws that have the Margle clone effect. I may bump this up to 4, we'll see, but I am running 10 critical, so 2 remaining Ancient Dragon Dino Dials, the rest are my Ancient Dragon deck, and then 4 of the one that came out with Dark Rex, 4 Cannon Tiger or Black Cannon Tiger, and then 4 of the new Savage Healer. See, I feel like eventually they're gonna make Savages become a thing because I think they could be pretty cool. It's like 10,000 BC or something, but yeah. That's the trigger lineup for now. I might drop like 2 of these or something and put in 2 more draws because you do retire a lot. You engorge a lot, or you need to engorge a lot. So draw triggers can help you refill your hand, so you can call things more to the field. And then 1 Dragon Egg. Dragon Egg is a very good starter. Came out in BTO2 again, just like with this guy. I only have 1 of each. So I chose this as a starter because it's very good with Engorge. So when it's put in the drop zone, you can counterblast 1 Superior Call it. Or actually no, it doesn't Superior Call it, it goes to your hand. So they can go back into your hand when they're retired, so you get extra shield. So it's pretty good. I always think the Tachikaze has the same potential to do good just like Shadow Paladin. That's the main deck. For the Stride units, I'm running 2 Destruction, Tyrant, Hellrex, Maxima. So I pulled these when I pulled my Fighters Collection boxes. This is basically the Rex support. It's essentially its main phase, retire 1 of your rear guards, and then if you have a Rex in the heart, search your deck for a Rex, bind it face up, shuffle the deck. If you bound a card, choose with 3 cards in front row. And they get 4k. So it's really good with either one of the grade 3s. Because typically, it depends on the situation. Most of the time, I'll bind this one first. But if I don't have a field, sometimes I prefer to bind this one. Because that way I can get an extra attack in. An extra rear guard attack. So it meshes really well with the Vanguards, the Rex Vanguards. So 2 of those. I didn't bother to get any more. And then 4 Destruction Equipment, Hammer, Gilwald. This is the on hit with Engorge. Or actually, it's when this unit becomes engorged, it gets 3k. Then if the number, then you turn. So no, it's not an on hit, but it's a rare, so it's pretty easy to obtain. Then we have the newer Destruction Tyrant. This is also from the Fighters Collection that came out earlier this year. It has Engorge. So just 2 of those, and then 3 Destruction Tyrant. So again, Destruction Tyrants. This one came out from the older Fighters Collection, I believe. Yeah, this is FCO1, and then this one was FCO3. So this is the on-hit one, and when it hits, basically you engorge something, and it gets 5k when it attacks, and then if it hits, you get to retire 1 of your opponent's rear guards, and you get to pick and retire 1 of your opponent's rear guards, not like your opponent retires a rear guard. So that's a pretty good pressure card. And then 3 Iron Armored Chancellor. So this is the G Guardian that they have for now. It's relatively reliable to get the plus 5k unless you're completely dominating your opponent. And in that case, you wouldn't have too much of trouble like guarding them unless you're up against Royal Paladins or something. And then 1 Scryu and 1 Desmal. Desmal just to protect your like Silent Tom type rear guards and stuff like that. And then Scryu just to block really big attacks. So anyway, guys, that was my Tachikaze Rex deck. This deck is fairly budget, I would say. It's, nothing in here is like super expensive that I can remember. Like I think most of the cards, even like the older cards like this, probably the only ones that you would have a hard time finding, I guess, are these. But I mean, I got lucky because these were in my booster boxes. Otherwise, you could just run other starters. But yeah. As far as Dark Rex, I don't think it's that hard to find, and none of the other cards like this is hard to find at all. So, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that deck profile video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.